Hey all, welcome to this week's favorite collection here at the CIOPCC. And this week we're going to do another section of the room. We're going to do the black and white section. Light and dark, good and evil. That would be Star Wars. Now the Star Wars section is one of my largest collections. That along with DC really take up a large percentage of the room. The Star Wars section has a wall here about 14 feet long with the black and white stripes. And it also takes up one complete 2x8 tower in front of it that was specially designed. You'll notice it doesn't have quite as many of the shelves on it as the other ones does. It only has 4 instead of 5. And that was because it was to accommodate a particular set of collectibles. I often forget to mention when I have things hanging from the ceiling. I do that a lot when it's appropriate. And here you're going to see Luke hanging from the antenna. This is one of the Hot Toys DX figures. You'll see the other part of that. That was one of those terrific DX figures that you got 2 for 1. Back when Hot Toys was actually giving you some value. Up there on top, you can see when you're dealing with 6 scale figures, what you can do. Let's zoom in. See what you can do when you split that 22-inch shelf using a riser. So you can see across the top and the bottom, we have all kinds of troopers. All of these guys are Sideshow. Sideshow did lots and lots of stormtroopers and clone troopers and produced them, for all of the films in all their variations. Let's zoom back out here. We're getting kind of close to these guys. And when we get down here, we get some larger ones. The droid there, that probe droid, I love that. Another Sideshow release. Now when we drop down the shelf, so that's about, not to underscore, value that. That is a terrific shelf. You're looking at almost 60 action figures, 6-scale action figures along that top shelf. When we get down here, we start getting into some Gentle Giant mini busts. You can see I have some space here. That Cad Bane is my most recent one, or not Cad Bane, Cobb Vanth. That's the most recent one I picked up. I'm a big fan of the character, so when they announced the bust, I wanted to pick that one up. And I have the Wampa coming now, because that was another one I really had to have. But once upon a time, I was trying to be a completist with these guys back many, many, many years ago. I gave that up. That was ridiculous. And when I say something's ridiculous, you know it is ridiculous. You'll see almost all of the Christmas specials that Gentle Giant did. The one I can't find is the BB-8. I know I've got it around here somewhere, but I might have gotten lost in a move, sadly. I remember receiving it from them one Christmas. It was the last one they did. And I don't know what happened to it. But all the rest of the Christmas mini busts they did are up there. We finish up down here at the end as we're getting to the purple section. And when we come down a row, we'll have a few more. This won't be the end of them. You're going to see them again on the bottom shelf. But then we start in with our 6 scale. So this is Hot Toys and Sideshow, but against the wall, it's predominantly Hot Toys. You'll notice the droid there, the battle droid, and the stormtroopers and clone troopers that are up on top. Those were all Sideshow. But almost everything on this shelf are Hot Toys releases, with a few exceptions. They've done some amazing work with the Star Wars line. It is one that I continue to buy when they produce unusual characters. I don't need another Han or another Luke or another Vader, but if you give me some of the more obscure characters, I'm going to be all over that. And just look, some of these head sculpts are just tremendous. Some of the work they've done over the years in this line is really special. Now we get down at the end of this, like I said, about 14 feet. Come down the next shelf and we got some more Hot Toys. Jawas, of course. Those are Sideshow. But then we move through some more Hot Toys Troopers. I have not bought as many Hot Toys Troopers as I did the Sideshow versions. I've never been quite sold on the idea that design really requires you to spend $300 on a figure. But I do have a few of them. The Bosk, of course, is still Sideshow. Did a marvelous job with that one. They've done a really great job, always with the aliens. Here we have the classic stance for Vader with a couple of stormtroopers. Lots of Boba Fett's in the collection. Big fan of that character as well, including all of the incarnations. Now, I mentioned that the next shelf down, we would see some more of the mini busts. I never lie. And so this entire shelf at the bottom is also Gentle Giant mini busts. Some of them from the very beginning. Some of them more recent. But like I said, over the last 3 or 4 years, I have become much less insistent on picking these up. So now I'm only picking up ones that really speak to me. And that new Wampa is a great example. As soon as they put that up for pre-order, I had to grab that one. That's a really cool bust. And we don't get enough Wampa merchandise. I really, really want somebody to do a fantastic 6-scale Wampa, which is right up Hot Toys alley, and would be something I'd drop $300 on in a heartbeat. No sign they're going to do anything like that, sadly. But, you know, they did a decent job, at least with the first release of Chewbacca. So I'd like to see them take a swing at a Wampa. Down around the end there, there's a wicket hiding. Now on the bottom, down here on the floor, we're going to have some Kotobukiya, like the IG-88 there. We've got some Hasbro, believe it or not. I will have some Hasbro in the collection. Some more Kotobukiya. These cup toppers were cool. Coming down this way, there's more of the Kotobukiya statues. You're going to see some of my favorites down around the other side. More of these cup toppers. A couple of these wonky figures from Diamond Select that they did in the quarter scale. Or Darth Maul there. You know, I got to stand him back upright. And speaking of Wampas, this is like the only 6-scale one we've gotten. That's why it's out here. Might be that Hasbro sucks, but they are the only ones who took that on. And we finish up down here on the floor. So that gets us the wall section. Like I said, the majority of my collection is featured around 3 things. 6-scale, Gentle Giant busts, gotta stand that sign up there, Gentle Giant busts, and Star Wars Black, the 6-inch line. You'll notice I didn't mention any 4-inch figures because I don't do the 4-inch figures. I used to. I had a ton of them. I no longer do. So let's start up here at the end. Here's some Sideshow. Great example of one that I'm waiting for is the new Mace Windu. That'll replace that one. But when there's characters that Sideshow did a pretty decent job with, and we have no expectation of getting from Hot Toys, like some of the aliens, it's a nice Jango Fett they did. The speeder bike and the biker scout, those are Sideshow. Some of these Clone Wars figures, Sideshow did a nice job, including the chair for up there and back. The white Fett. Now there's Hot Toys in back. That's one of the Mandalorians, and he's on his bike with Grogu. You'll notice the 2 shelves here don't match up. That's why this one is a little further from the floor, or from the ceiling, because this one is taller. I needed to make this shelf large enough that I could do many of the Sideshow Star Wars dioramas. So they did a great job with this stuff. You'll notice here's the Han and Carbonate against the wall. This, of course, is the Hot Toys. But this is Sideshow's Dewback, being ridden by a Hot Toys Sand Trooper. But that's their Dewback. They did a marvelous job with that. Here we have Chewbacca playing a little chess with R2-D2. while C-3PO is up there watching out to see what the Tusken Raider's doing up there. You can see Homer Simpson clock over there is talking to us right now. Then we get some more recent 6-scale releases, both the Cobb Vanth and those are from the Book of Boba Fett. Come down around this way, we got some snowtroopers, more Sideshow diorama stuff. While the head sculpts aren't perfect on the Han and Luke, they are damn good. And the costumes are really well done, and the Tauntaun is fantastic. So those are examples. I don't need Hot Toys to release any of those. I have both the brown jacket and the blue jacket version of Han, as you can see. Here's that DX Luke again. That's the other version, sitting here hanging out with a Hot Toys Yoda in front of Yoda's hut that Sideshow did. Here we have the Cantina band hanging out in the Cantina set that Sideshow did with the Hot Toys Han Solo getting ready to blast the Sideshow Greedo. And yes, Greedo's got his gun over there ready to go too. They did a great job with the Jabba's palace stuff. Here's a Nook that they did, along with the actual throne for Jabba. And there's some Sideshow figures in here. The Han, or the Luke rather, along with another Boba Fett. So that's where I had to make that shelf taller so that we could have enough space to fit those larger, taller pieces of the dioramas. Now we get back to a normal scale. Oh, wait a minute. We need to go up on top. On this side on top, we have some real weird stuff. First, on the bottom half here, let's look at that. We've got some Hasbro. And again, these Hasbro figures I've kept because the likelihood of us ever getting any of these Hasbro figures from Hot Toys, that's pretty slim. Now, I did keep the Tusken Raider up there from Sideshow. Now we're starting to get back into some more Sideshow figures. They did a great Hammerhead. Dengar is nicely done. Up above, those are premium format figures. Luke, Boba Fett, Obi-Wan, Princess Leia. Those are the premium format figures from early in Sideshow's career. Another Luke and Han and Vader. Now we can come down a shelf. Talk about Star Wars Black. Lots of Star Wars Black. This was another series that I had this brilliant idea that I was going to be a completist. Then Hasbro went nuts, producing all kinds of exclusives, some of them impossible to get, and I decided that I would just stick with the ones I liked. So that's what I do now. I only pick up ones, the new ones that I really, really think add something to the collection. Come down here a shelf. Rather than picking up every one they do. I can't tell you how much less stress that causes. And as a completist, what I've found is that when you break the spell, when you finally skip one, and then two, all of a sudden, it gets really easy to skip any one you want. It's that breaking, it's like any other, I don't want to say addiction, but you know what I mean. It's like any other obsession. Once you get past it, you can break free after that one or two times where you say no. Of course, certain characters, if they produced them in the Star Wars Black, I'm all over them like hair on a bear. Didn't say I stopped buying them. I just said I don't buy every one they make anymore. Let's come down around the corner here. This is a little more old school. We've got Bosk and some versions of Boba Fett, as well as some more from the original trilogy. Like I said, this is a 2x8 shelf. So when you've got an 8-foot shelf and you've got 3 layers of shelf to stand on. People are falling over back there. Poor Kylo Ren took a tumble. You can put a lot of figures on a shelf. It's a lot of square footage. Some of the vehicles here, you'll see some more of the vehicles in a minute when we get down around to the other side. Some of the vehicles I've kept boxed from when they were first released. And this is like the Hot Toys I was talking about earlier. This is another one of those series. I don't really, if you're going to put out another Stormtrooper, another Clone Trooper, another Vader, another Han, another Luke, those are going to be the easiest in the world for me to pass up when I see them on the pegs at Target. Do those side characters, do some more unique aliens, and those I can't pass up. If anybody's got any questions about anything you see, make sure you comment. I know I'm cruising along pretty quick, but come on. You guys are Star Wars collectors. You've seen a lot of this stuff before. Another thing I picked up a lot of, tried to get all of when they were first being released, are these prop replicas that are scaled. So they're about half scale, 0.45 I think is what they always used to say. Oh, let's get that out of there. I was cleaning those off the other day. And you can see here they are in the cases that Master Replicas made. Behind them there are some of those white boxed first release figures they did. And as we come down here, there's some more of the boxed Star Wars Black Series. These are ones that are a little harder to get. I haven't opened them up yet. Great examples here at the end where you've got Princess Leia in the slave costume. And you've got Cara Dune, whoops, get the camera straight there, Cara Dune. And more of these of the scaled prop replica lightsabers from Master Replicas. There aren't a lot of different ones. What there is they did tend to take them. I'll give you an example here. Here you can see there's Yoda's in the sort of standard look. That was one exclusive. You've got it in the gold. So they would produce them in different ways for different exclusives. They did con exclusives. They did store exclusives. That Kotobukiya Bosk is one of my favorites. We got some Hot Toys giveaways here. Hot Toys likes to do Christmas stuff at the end of the year. There, of course, is the director's version there. George Lucas in the Stormtrooper outfit. That's an original Rubik's Cube, by the way. That was mine when I was in college. And as we come down around this side, we've got more of the boxed black figures, along with some odds and ends, including a few more Kotobukiya statues. I've got some room to play with some of this stuff over here. I may end up opening some of it, but it gives me a little space to play with as I'm moving forward. Down here on this side, we do have, over on the horror side, we have a few more of the Master Replicas. These are the non-lightsaber scaled prop replicas. And up on top of this one, we have some of the exclusive Star Wars Black stuff, including a couple of the vehicles that are still boxed. Likewise, down around the end here. So, we have a few of those down there. On the floor, I said I'd gotten rid of all the 4-inch scale stuff. Well, I have a walker that was my son's when he was little. I wanted to keep that. Here's a cool Target sign. It's one of the 3D signs they had when the prequels came out. Another sign down around on this side. That was the one you heard me picking up a little earlier that I knocked over for some Doritos and a whole bunch more of those cup toppers of various characters. So that's pretty much the Star Wars collection. I know in 20 minutes that was a pretty fast run through. We've got some buttons here in the middle. That was a pretty fast run through. If you've got any questions at all, let me know. If there was anything more specific you wanted to look at, let me know. Be happy to do it for you. And that'll be it for this week. Make sure you subscribe. On Friday, I'll do a collection, an acquisition report. And then next week, we will do some more favorite collection. Have a great weekend.